White flag is raised and they're off. Failing to go with them, the 17 La Prima Donna has down tools at the start as they corner for their first flight. Coming up to past the stands in the boys sports handicap hurdle, a valuable listed contest. Over 2 3/4 miles into Keeney with close up. Hallowed Star, then Gallant John Joe, part of Pause. On the inside is the company sergeant, being followed to the second flight by Ikara Len. Flight number 2, over which the leader is Nikini. Far from fluent, but heads up to the turn, having negotiated their first 2 flights, leading Hallowed Star. Blew them away in this race last year, and now edges to the front. Gap then, 4 lengths to Part of Pause, and then the company sergeant, Gallant John Joe on the outside of Ikara Len. Then Bugs Moran, next to the inside is Digby, with in between horses Act of God. Next is Highland Charge, judged the best turned out. Going towards the next flight past the stands, and it is Hallowed Star, landing in the lead, a mistake by Highland Charge, and going Maze Runner. Michael O'Sullivan is sitting up after he's tumbled from 11 Maze Runner. Reaching their final 2 miles, Hallowed Star just with the lead from Nikini, the company sergeant in the checks, then Part of Pause and Ikara Len and Gallant John Joe out wide. Then Bugs Moran, an Act of God, and Digby next with Highland Charge, and Watch the Weather, an Ambitious Fellow, and Favros. At the rear it is I Like the Way You're Thinking, and has just got a crack at the top of the hill. Coming down to the next flight, in the lead is Hallowed Star, going on 2 lengths in front of Nikini, and then the company sergeant as they stack up on the descent, then Part of Pause. Gallant John Joe on the outside of Ikara Len in the start cap. Then Bugs Moran, an Act of God, and Digby and Favros, an Ambitious Fellow, and Watch the Weather and Highland Charge. I Like the Way You're Thinking, the back markers. The field is preceded by the loose horse as they come to the flight, bringing them past the point of departure. Hallowed Star, joined in the air by Part of Pause, and then Nikini, edging into 3rd place, Ikara Len, who ran a blinder in Thursday's hurdle. As they come to the flight, which was their first, it's the last one next time. It's just outside halfway. Hallowed Star and Keith Dunhu up and over. From Part of Pause on the stand side, Paul Townend, the company sergeant, makes a move in between the 2 leaders for Dunamila. Then Nikini and Kieran Callahan. Next is Bugs Moran, an Act of God. Ikara Len and Digby next with Gallant John Joe, Ambitious Fellow, and Highland Charge, and Favros at the rear. Watch the Weather, and I Like the Way You're Thinking. The field is well compacted at the 6th last flight, where Hallowed Star put down and out jumped on both sides by Nikini and the company sergeant as they reach the final mile. 5 flights left to jump. Then Bugs Moran, who's raced onto the heels of the leading 3. Act of God is closing, and then Ikara Len and Part of Pause shuffle back to mid-division. Then Ambitious Fellow and Digby and Watch the Weather and Highland Charge. Ridden along as Gallant John Joe, then Favros, and 2 lengths to I Like the Way You're Thinking. The flight 7.5 furlongs from the finish, and Nikini is back in front from Hallowed Star, the company sergeant, Part of Pause, Bugs Moran on the inside of Act of God. As they jump that flight less than 7 furlongs from the finish. In the boys sports handicap hurdle, matching strides Nikini and the company sergeant. 3 parts of a length up on the 3rd running, Part of Pause. Racing together 4 and 5, Act of God and Bugs Moran, followed then by Ikara Len. Creeping into contention in the orange cap is Watch the Weather. Gallant John Joe's been pulled up as they jump the 3rd last flight. 5 furlongs to go. Good run to 2 out. Nikini on the rail. 1 off the rail is the company sergeant. Right with them is Part of Pause. Highland Charge makes a move on the outside. Then Bugs Moran, Act of God, and Ikara Len and Watch the Weather, an Ambitious Fellow. Trying to come into it, but pushed along to do so as I Like the Way You're Thinking. As they come down towards the 2nd last, struggling badly is Digby. Hallowed Star has dropped right out of contention. Coming down to the 2nd last, And it's Nakini, hard pressed by the company sergeant, part of Paws and Highland Charge. Ambitious Fellow drives up the inside with Bugs Moran. Act of God tried to squeeze through with the Carter Lane. Then watch the weather and Favorus, and I like the way you're thinking. Coming towards the second last, an Ambitious Fellow out jumped by Bugs Moran. Gone there, Act of God. Badly hampered was part of Paws as they swing into the straight. One flight left to jump, and it's Bugs Moran coming to challenge Ambitious Fellow, opening up an advantage over Ricardo Lane. And watch the weather at the final flight. Ambitious Fellow and Bugs Moran do battle, followed by Ricardo Lane, who's trying to gain on them in third. Then watch the weather, Favoros and Highland Charge, not many finishing out this race. Ambitious Fellow and Sam Ewing from Bugs Moran and Jack Kennedy the near side. Ambitious Fellow will see it out from Bugs Moran in third place. Ricardo Lane. Then watch the weather, Highland Charge, Favoros and Digby looks to be the only other one to get round.
Well, it's been some week for trainer Peter Fahey, a fourth win of the week and a great run and a great ride by Sam Ewing. Ambitious Fellow, another big pot again today. Well done.
Yeah, look at this, brilliant. Look at this, Sam. I suppose he made a good move coming down the hill, I think, just to nip up the inner. It could have been the winning and losing of it, but look, it's great. The horse, he lost his form a little bit. He had an issue there after his run. I think it was in Limerick last year, and it took a while to get him back right, but he had a lovely run the last day. He was completely wrong at the weights in the conditions race, and it gave him a good confidence coming here, but look, I was probably a bit worried about the ground for him, but it worked out great.
Yeah, last night you expressed that, but Sam obviously picked away down on fresh ground, but that easy ground that he made up down the inside made a big difference at the end.
It did, yeah. I seen across the top. I think it was after jumping to third last. Sam gave him a little bit of a squeeze, and straight away he sat back up on him because he obviously got the feel he had plenty left. And then, in fairness, it was a brave move, but it worked out great for him. He's very lucky.
Tell us about the order. Same colours as a lot of your own, but there's an extra initial in this partnership.
Yeah, look, there's 3 or 4 of them involved in it, and Bear has a bit of a share of them as well. So we won a bumper with him. We brought him to sales, and we couldn't get anyone to buy him. And we brought him back home. He won the Punchestown Festival, and then he's after landing a big pot for us there today. So it's great. We're lucky.
Fantastic. It's been a great week for you and your team.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. I suppose I packed up to come home out of the hotel, so I might have to go back now. But no, look, it'll be good old crack, and sure, it's great to get winners down here.
Which was a 14-day festival, the way things are going at the minute.
Well, not this morning when I woke up, but at the moment, yeah.
Well done again. Brilliant for you.
Great, thanks a million. Thanks.
Fantastic week here at Galway for Sam Ewing. Only recently returned, of course, from injury. A third win and a lovely ride and Ambitious Fellow. Well done.
Yeah, he done it very well. He had a nice run the last day in Cork, and Peter was fairly confident. I probably ended up getting where I needed to be a bit soon, but a nice gap came down the rail, so I kind of had to take it, and I was able to sit then a bit longer.
It's a race-winning move. Your thinking going into that was just you're going to make easy ground at that point in time?
Like, I had plenty of horse to get me there, and once I knew I could get up there and I sat again, I felt Jack coming on my outside, and I thought he might have a bit more than me, but to be fair to him, he stuck his head down and grinded out well.
It's a horse that Peter Fahey was worried about the ground going out. He obviously got through it well. How bad is the ground out there? It's obviously not as bad maybe as what we thought pre-racing.
No, look, it's testing enough for here. It's summer soft ground, and it's definitely his best run on that ground anyway, and he jumped really well through it today, so onwards and upwards for him, hopefully.
Yeah, good day to go on back ground, and for you, third winner of the week, only back from injury. It's been a great way to see you're back in business.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. You know, big thanks to Gordon and Peter and my agent Gary Cribben for all their support. It wouldn't be possible without them.
Quite nasty injury. You're out for a length of time.
Yeah, look, it was a bit awkward the way it was broke, and it took time, nearly 4 months in the end, but look, it's great to be back for Galway, and brilliant to get a few winners.
Indeed it was. It's a great week for you. Well done.
Thanks, Fran. Thank you.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.